Supply chain control and verification in wood processing and trade. Forests play an important role in mitigating climate change, protecting biodiversity, and in the economic development of Laos. However, forests are under threat because of the conversion to other land uses and especially because of illegal logging. One major strategy that the government of Lao-PDR is embarking on is FLEGT, Forest Law Enforcement, Governance and Trade. It aims to promote good governance in the forest sector, which will bolster poverty reduction and sustainable management of natural resources. Since 2017, Laos is negotiating a FLEGT VPA, or Voluntary Partnership Agreement, with the EU. This VPA defines the commitments and actions of both sides in their effort to address illegal logging. Once signed and implemented, the VPA will ensure the legality of timber, both timber for export and timber used domestically. For Laos, the FLEGT VPA means more than just ensuring legality of wood. It's an opportunity to reform the forest sector and strengthen the country's domestic wood industry. Since 2013, the German government supports Laos in the preparation and conduct of the VPA negotiations. This includes a multi-stakeholder dialogue process between government, private sector, and civil society organizations. The final aim is to set up a national TLAS, a Timber Legality Assurance System, which is the centerpiece of all VPAs. A TLAS consists of 5 main elements. It defines what constitutes legally produced timber, how to control the supply chain, how to verify legally sourced timber, and how to issue licenses. It also requires independent monitoring to ensure that the system works well. However, regardless of whether the timber is exported or processed and used domestically, it's important to ensure legality of the entire sector. It's important to understand where timber is coming from. In Laos, there are currently 4 primary timber sources. Logs from production forest and conversion areas are collected first within the forest or close to the harvesting area, log landing 1. The logs are transported to log landing 2, a central place close to the production forest area or conversion area, where logs are measured and graded. Non-native timber species from plantations can be directly transported via traders to the processing companies or to the point of export. Native timber species from plantations cannot be exported. Timber from village forests is limited to a customary use only and cannot be used for commercial purposes. Timber from 4 primary sources that was not harvested in legal manner and cannot be traced back to its origin shall be confiscated by the authorities. Following the Prime Minister's Order No. 15, all timber from production forest, conversion areas and confiscated timber has to be formally auctioned at log landing 2 before it can continue in the supply chain to wood processing factories, so-called log landing 3. All timber has to be processed by the national wood processing industry, allowing only specific finished products for export. In Lao-PDR, all timber will go through log landing 3 and is therefore subject to supply chain control and verification procedures. A new draft decision by the Ministry of Industry and Commerce, MOIC, on the management of timber requires operators to set up an internal management system for timber input and output. At the arrival of timber to log landing 3, the log yard of the wood processing companies or traders, the manager needs to ensure that it has legal origin and is accompanied by invoices and other documentation that identifies the supplying source. All timber where the origin is unclear or that is not accompanied by the appropriate documentation must be rejected. The control and documentation of incoming and outgoing material is the key to a legal supply chain. Each operator needs to develop a system for managing the storage with an appropriate inventory system that shows incoming and outgoing material, either as logs, semi-finished, or finished wooden material. During processing of timber, the internal management system must be able to report on recovery rate, meaning the material has been recovered as a percentage from the logs consumed during processing operation. The recovery rate has to be monitored and recorded in all steps where timber is converted. By following the recovery rate and keeping record of the volume change, companies can apply the mass balance system, whereas the difference between input and output of timber depends on several factors like log diameter and quality. Every operator needs to have a material accounting system. This can be designed as a paper-based system or can include the use of very advanced computerized solutions. A basic accounting system keeps all records of timber input, timber transformation, and timber output. It includes all records that have been collected at the critical control points. All operators need to report their periodic timber input and output to government authorities, together with the evidence that all inputs were of legal origin. Based on the information from the companies, the authorities will then have regular inspections to reconcile and verify the information provided. As regulated by the new draft decision by MOIC, the operators are responsible for the setup of an internal management system, ensuring supply chain control, while the authorities ensure the compliance through verification procedures. This new decision regulates different requirements for both actors for supply chain control and verification. The operator is responsible for controlling all critical control points and reporting to the government. The government authorities, on the other hand, are responsible for conducting regular inspections to reconcile and verify the information provided. Supply chain control and verification are an essential part of the TLAS. To be effective, all critical control points need to be controlled and be traceable with documentation, especially in wood processing factories where many sources of timber are mixed. By setting up an internal management system and complying with the requirements of the TLAS, wood processing companies are taking an important step towards the eligibility for FLEGT licensing, but also towards readiness and competitiveness in the future market of legal timber products.